Dr. Deborah Simmons is a professor of special education at Texas A&M University. She is a speech pathologist and a special educator in the public schools for 10 years prior to earning her doctorate degree in special education and reading. She conducts research to prevent and intercept reading difficulties. Dr. Simmons has published extensively in her areas of expertise.
Mr. Miller and Mr. McKeon and members of the committee, like Dr. Good, I have submitted written testimony, and I will briefly summarize my involvement in Reading First for you today, and thank you for this opportunity. I've always told folks I had the most important and best job in the world. I get to teach future teachers, I get to observe in classrooms, I get to help solve schools' problems. And one of the biggest problems that Reading First is addressing is the number of children that we have who are not readers and who are not readers by the end of grade 3. And we know that if a child is not a reader by the end of first grade, there's a very low probability that they will become a successful reader. And that's where I've spent my life's work. I spent the first 10 years as a special educator in public schools. The next 10 years, I worked with schools to try to help them fix programs and reading programs. Asking teachers to fix an ineffective program is like asking a pilot to fly and build a plane at the same time. It's just physically impossible. So good programs and scientifically based programs are at the heart of what I do. Regarding my involvement in Reading First, I was involved in two primary areas. I worked as a member of the assessment committee. As Dr. Good and Dr. Kamianui have described, this was an important work that helped establish assistance for schools as they tried to implement Reading First. At no point had there literally was no resource for schools to go to help identify assessments to use, and that was the purpose of the assessment committee, was to provide some assistance to schools. Members of that committee were the most professional experts with whom I've ever worked. They never reviewed assessments with which they were affiliated. I'm not an author of an assessment, but I can speak from participating in that committee that the rigor was at the highest level on that committee. My second area of involvement was in the area of presentations that I did. Two of those were at the Leadership Academy. Those presentations involved components of effective instruction, and at no point in those presentations did I endorse or promote specific programs. Though my involvement in Reading First was very limited, and largely constrained to 2001 and 2002, it was a time of great excitement and great hope. And recently I've had opportunities to be observing in schools that have been involved in Reading First, and I can tell you that I see a big difference in those schools. I see children who at the beginning of kindergarten knew no letters and no sounds, reading sentences and writing words. I see schools that look very differently than they would have without this assistance from Reading First, and it has been a privilege to participate in those activities. Thank you.